If your ink's too slow and your nib won't flow, here's one of the places that you can go. Larry is here to see you through with Mr. Announcer and Cubby too. It's Larry's Fountain Pen Reviews.
Once again, folks, I'm going to have Mike Green up so he can finish up from yesterday. What's really important, he's going to talk about the nibs that he has to offer and what can he get, what can he not get maybe. So Mike, would you kind of go over thoroughly about the nibs? That's the heart of the pen, which is really, really important. Take it away, Mr. Mike. Can't hear you.
There we go.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit. Try it again. Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. It helps to turn the microphone on. You know, when you mute the microphone, it's harder for people to hear.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a secret.
All right. Level, check, 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 right? Anyway. All right. Nibs. Well, of course, you know, like a lot of people, I use both Bach and Jowo nibs. And primarily number 6 in steel in both cases. And I usually keep a good stock. Well, here's my little bag of Bach nibs. You know, I have a bunch of different sizes and different finishes. And oh, here's my little bag of Jowo nibs. Sometimes it's fuller. Right now, it's getting kind of empty. It looks like it's about time to order some more nibs, doesn't it? But
Oh no, okay.
I had my bag of here, where is it? Yeah, well, there's that one, but looking for the other one. I think I put it out to remind me. I don't know where I put it. I've run out of the regular converters. I still have some TWSBI converters, so you know, those bigger converters. And I think I'm out of converters otherwise, so I've ordered some more. They're on their way. So,
All right.
as I'm making pens, each one, I like to have each pen when I finish it, like here's that red and black one here that I finished a couple days ago. I like to put a nib in it so that you can see what it looks like with a nib. And of course, as I put them together, I try to make sure they have a converter on them just so that you can see what they look like. So here he is, he's ready to go. And of course, when you buy them, you get to choose. If I've made the pen, of course, I've usually made it either for a Jowo or a Bach nib already. It's already threaded, and then you can just interchange between the different nibs. You can just pick out, you know, if it's this one's made for a Jowo nib, so any of the Jowo, whoops, throw it down. Any of the nibs in my bag will, you know, medium, fine, broad, gold, or steel, you know, will fit there. They can be threaded in, and so. This one has got it's like a medium steel, I think, or I think I put this together. I lost my magnifier. Anyway, so there's that one, and likewise, and of course, if you're ordering a pen, if you're building a custom pen, you choose which one you like. You know, if you prefer Bach, I can make it for a Bach, and of course, if you prefer back here, I've got one happens to be made. This is one that happens to be made. You can also have it made for a Bach number 8. Basically, I do pens for both 6 and 8 in Bach. I can't get the Jowo in 8 right now. I think they've just stopped making it. I don't see any supplied anymore lately. So, which is unfortunate. But so there's the nib story, and of course, all of these nibs that I'm showing, like. You know, all of these nibs have all been tuned by Kirk Spear at Pen Realm. I've been running all of my nibs through him, and so all of these nibs have been tuned, which is usually when you buy a stock nib, it's usually okay or good, or you know, sometimes it's a little scratchy. And if you buy pens, you'll get a stock nib and. Sometimes it's okay. It writes usually. I mean, I've never had one that didn't write, but I've bought a couple pens that had kind of disappointing nibs, and so this just saves you from that experience. There'll always be nice nibs and will write well. And I've been really happy with what I've been getting with tuned nibs like this. It's one less thing for me to worry about too. I like it when you get the pen and it writes really well right out of the box, without any playing around. You don't have to go get it tuned or anything like that. So that's the way I like it. And,
now, can you order any kind of specialty nibs? Broad, oblique medium, what?
Oh, sure. And I have a small stock of pre-ground ones already. I can, of course, order and get just about anything made. Anything you can think of, I can go to a Nibmeister or to whomever. But I did go to Kirk and I had him do a few for me, and then he sent them in these really neat little cases. But this is a needlepoint, and I'm turning it so it doesn't quite reflect into your eyes here. But this is a needlepoint nib.
Pretty,
and this one here is what he calls an Imperial. Okay. It's an Imperial grind. And I did get a couple that I've collected that were interesting grinds. So I do have a few in stock, but I can always, of course, you say, okay, I would like an oblique from a broad oblique. Well, I just go and just like anybody, I can just go and order one, and then I can send that with the pen. Right. Speaking of which, we do have an oblique broad on its way right now.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, we talked about that. Larry wanted one, so I ordered it last night. It might take a couple extra days, I realize, because Kirk is at the Baltimore show right now. Although you never know with Kirk, maybe it goes up to his hotel room and grinds these things out and puts them in the mail while he's out there in Baltimore.
It's a secret. That's why. Secret.
Yeah. So I think I've got a nib. Oh, I just got this in today from Carolina Pen Company. This is the nib for the pen that Doc gave away. Remember, he had that red and black Ebonite pen, and of course Doc likes gold nibs. And again, if you like gold nibs, that's fine. I mean, I actually, I have to say, I probably am not a good enough writer or a sensitive enough writer to really always tell the difference. Because as long as the nib is well tuned, even if it's steel or whatever, it works fine for me. I do like gold myself because it's just, kind of makes it feel fancier or nicer. Maybe it's all in my head, but I like the way gold feels. And so Doc, when he gave this pen away, he upgraded it to a gold. And of course, I don't stock the gold nibs are kind of expensive, they're made of gold, so they're expensive relative to the steel ones. So this is the nib that I just got. It's in a nice little case. Try to be careful not to hurt it. Here, as I take it out. Here we go. Very careful. Here we go. So here we have the winner, Frank. He chose a 1.1 stub. I don't know where my magnifier is, but you can see this is a gold 1.1 stub nib.
Yeah, the tip. Yeah.
There he is, and I'll have it tuned and everything, so it's not quite ready to be used, but it's here it is. It arrived, so that was good. It's a 14K, and like I said, I'll get that tuned and it'll go on its way. Meanwhile, I sent him the pen. He was anxious to see the pen. He wanted the pen. Just like I would be. I wouldn't want to wait a couple of weeks or 3 weeks for the nib to arrive. So I sent it to him with a steel nib in it for him to play with until this one gets ready. So, but if you do want a gold nib, you can order gold nibs. I know I've got some nibs put away here. We won't mention any names, but where are they? Right. Stored away somewhere. I can't. They're not right in front of me. I'm sorry, but I do have some other nibs I've ordered. Like you have a double broad 18K number 8, waiting for Mike to get around to making the pen. So I'm working with that. Will be soon.
But that is no hurry because that's a secret.
Yep. Well, we're still working out the design too. I've got some details to work out yet, and I'll be sending you those details, and we can decide whether you really like it that way or not. So that's the way it is. If you're getting something done custom, sometimes you have to go back and forth a little bit, and work out all the details, you know.
Later I will be reviewing and showing people the difference in a double broad, oblique
Right.
broad, oblique medium nibs. So that's going to be interesting. So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Why would people even be interested in oblique nibs?
Well, I mean, I think, well, of course, right off the bat, I mean, even with just the normal, the normal round nibs, you can go from, ultra extra fine and fine and medium and broad and double broad. And then there's even broader ones, like quadruple broad, whatever, it's really a matter of what fits your handwriting.
Yeah.
And I guess, I've experimented a lot with nibs myself. You can also get a variety of grinds. Of course, like we were just talking about, there's the stub, and it's really a matter of what do you like to write with, and you may have different things you want to write. Like if you're writing, trying to write on a form or something where you have to write very small letters, you probably need to use a fine. But maybe when you're writing a letter, you may prefer to really let the ink spread out and show its colors and stuff. And so maybe you'll want a medium or a broad. And likewise on these other grinds, they have all of them have different characteristics. I'm trying to, my dream, of course, is that, one of these days I'm going to find the grind, and that's what'll fix it. And then my handwriting will look good, right? But so far, most people seem to, when I met Kirk, I told him that, and there was a little laughter there, but I still dream of finding a nib that will make my handwriting look good. So
now let me ask you a question. These
sure.
are about the Mont Blanc 149, and of course the King of Pens here. What I really like that dresses up the pens. And I love black. There's some people that get bored with black. I'm never going to get bored with black. It's a beautiful color, and you can associate that color with any other color you want to add to it. But what makes this really sing is the gold. I have some rose gold and gold, but this is what really brings out the beauty of the pen to me, is all the nice little trim work they've done, added the rings, the down in the bottom too. It just kind of makes the pen stand off, makes it look really nice. And same with the Sailor King of Pens. Now all they had was this color. Not my favorite color, but the pen is a favorite of mine. So yeah, but it still looks amazing with the silver rings. I think they're palladium rings. They did a really good job, and that brings the pen out from a bare pen, a naked pen with clothes on. Okay.
Well, it's a lot of these things. It's a matter of taste. What do you like? I like a lot of different things. I like a variety, and like you're saying, some it's like here's a pen that I finished recently. That's the Lady with Fan, it's called.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
This is by Turnt Pen Company is the name that make, it's hard for me to sometimes remember all the names, but they made this blank, and it's called Lady with Fan, and it's just, it's got a lot of colors in it, and and if that's what you like, that's great, but I like you, I move around a lot. Here's one by the Pensmiths called Boca. Sorry.
That's pretty. Yeah.
Another, just gorgeous, but maybe you don't like this color or don't like the other. I know we were talking about this the other night. This one got finished. This is the it's called Dark Winter, and it's a white, and it's actually, it's hard, it may not be showing up in this camera, but that black color is actually a gold pearl. And as you turn it, I think you can kind of see it in the camera. You start to see little bits of gold reflecting through it.
Looks good to me.
But at a distance, it looks a little more set back. It isn't quite as flashy from the distance. But if you get closer to it and get in the right light, you will see that gold coming through. Which is, again, what do you like? Here's I'm halfway through this one, the Snow Angel that we were talking about. Remember that one? Here's
Yeah,
here's
yeah.
the barrel.
Oh
Okay.
man, look at that.
This is called Snow Angel. Again, this is by Divine Turning Supply, but I mean it's a gorgeous blue and white swirl, you know.
I even like the names.
Oh yeah, Snow Angel. Well, the people that make the blanks, they come up with fun names
Yeah,
for
yeah,
them,
no, that's
you
what I'm
know.
saying.
And
You
so
don't
I
have to.
usually, so I'll tell you usually what, I'll tell you what blank I'm using so you can, like, this has got, if you look at it, it's got that, the chatoyance of it. If you turn it, you can kind of see the shine coming through off the edges of it as the angles change in the light, you know. And so this is going to be a gorgeous pen. It's kind of funny though, I kind of go, oh, I just finished this. This is a gorgeous pen, and oh, I'm finishing this one. This is a gorgeous pen. That's hard to choose your
It is.
favorite for me. They're gorgeous pens. Again, a lot of that is driven. I'm not trying to be a bragger or anything, but a lot of it's driven by the materials I'm choosing. This side, it's a lot of it's from the maker of the material is what is driving that. Is what's in causing it to be so beautiful.
So, Mike, let's be honest here up front. Why aren't the people buying more pens from you? I mean, you've opened the door to make them affordable. You've opened the door to make sure that the nibs are going to write to their liking because you're paying for that out of pocket. They pay nothing.
Right. I did not raise my prices when I started having the Nibs tuned, but I'm having a great time. I'm having a great time making the pens, and I'm going to go to. I'll be at the Chicago Pen Show. I'm going to be at the St. Louis Pen Show, and I'm going to go be at the Dallas Pen Show. So last year I was the very first time I went to a pen show at all. Period. Was the Chicago. So I'm going to get out there and people will get a chance. People, a lot of it is, for me, and I think a lot of people are like this, it's hard to buy, like here, this is a one of a kind pen. So it's really hard to say what you're getting and know what you're getting, without, and like me, I would really like to actually hold the pen and open it up. I'd like to hold it in my hand and see how it writes. I'd like to actually try writing with it, especially on these kind of pens. There is no other pen like this one. This is a unique pen. And so there's, it's nice to be able to really put your hands on it. And so that's what the pen shows are really good for. You can't, I don't have a shop where you can come in and shop at and look at them. And you can't find another person who has this pen because this is the only one, right? So you can't look at one of your friends' pens, although if you have friends that have bought one of my pens, and that's happened a lot. I've got a lot of referrals, people that know somebody who got a pen, right?
18, something I forgot. And
what's that?
I was about 8, I don't know how many, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had several people buy them. I've had several when I was at the Chicago Pen Show. I'm trying to remember. I sold, a fair number of pens there. I sell, again, among friends. I have a lot of friends that have bought pens and a lot of family that have bought pens. Part of it is, again, it's nice to be able to actually see the pen and go through it. You might like, like here, I've got the Ebonite pens that I did just recently. Here we go. These Ebonite pens. And, I made 5 of them, and now so you can see this is this is a very different pen from this one. It'll feel very different from the other pen, and this is a much bigger pen. This is a couple millimeters larger in diameter, and that changes the way it feels in your hand, right?
Okay.
So this has a different feel. So unless you have a chance to actually hold them in your hands, I think it's hard to pick a pen like this. This is not something you're going to be able to see on some website somewhere except on mine, and you're not going to get a good feel for it until you actually hold it. So I'm not too worried. We're selling a few pens here and there, and I'm going to get out to some shows so people will have a more opportunities to see things, and we'll sell more pens. I'm not too worried about it.
So back to what I was saying is that send a converter. Are you going to be sending cartridge with them a cartridge as well or not?
Oh yeah. Well, you
What
know,
was the
the circumstances, it varies, but I mean, basically, when I sell a pen and send it to somebody, yes, you get the pen. Like say, we'll pick on this one for a moment. You get the pen, of course, with your, you know, with your choice of nib. You get to choose the nib, but you know, and you get to, if you're having me make a pen, you can even choose which brand, of course. But once it's already made, it's got one brand or another, and you can. I make pens with both brands, so or you know whatever, so you can pick among them. But you can choose the nib. It comes with a converter, you know, ready to go. And if you like converters, you're set, right? I also send it with a couple cartridges. I usually I have a trying to it's I have a couple Pelican cartridges I send usually. It's a brilliant black and royal blue, you know, pretty popular colors. So you get a black and a blue cartridge, and so you have a pair of cartridges. That way, you know, if you get this in the mail and you like don't have your bottle of ink handy, you can stick one of the cartridges in and get going right away. Without again, I kind of like that instant gratification. You open the box, you can put the cartridge in and go. And cartridges are nice. I think you have a less of a tendency to get ink on your hands with cartridges, don't you?
Yeah,
If you're careful, you know. You can. I know. I used to use cartridges a lot. Lately, I've been doing more converters with bottled ink. But in the past, I lived pretty much exclusively with cartridges. I still managed to get ink on my hands once in a while. But I think it's a little easier to pop a new cartridge in and get going again without getting ink on your hands.
Always get ink on my hand. Always.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. Because actually, today I had a mishap at work with my pen. Where is he? He's around here somewhere. Actually, it was that problem you always worry about. I ran out of ink. You know, and I also had the misfortune. I've been so busy lately. I only had that one pen inked up. I'm now down to 0 pens inked. So I'm going to have to take some of these and put them in maybe do a test run with them and put some ink in them and
that happened.
Personal testing, right?
That happened to me once, but my backup was the rollerball pen.
Yeah. Well, I usually keep I usually carry 2 or 3 fountain pens at any given moment in my bag. Yeah. I just happen to I've been running out of ink. You know, like I have this. In fact, it's that's why this one's handy. This one with the with that Bach number 8. This is one of you know. Again, we're back into here's a black pen. You know, I like black pens. This one's got a little sparkle in it. Okay, but it's basically a black pen. I like, you know, black pens are really nice. But it ran out of ink, so it's sitting in my cup to be cleaned. You know, and now I'm going to have to put the other one in there. And I'm going to have to ink up a pen because I'm completely out of pens. So that's a tough problem. How long does
it take for you to polish a pen, make it nice and shiny?
Well, that's a good question. It's like here, I just finished this one, and here I'll reach over here. Here's some of his siblings. Okay, this is in that same set of pens. You know, they're all roughly the same geometry. They're not identical, and of course, I'm using a different blank for each one. This one's going to be another pretty pen. You know, now in this state, it's been set to the right size, rough sizes, and it's time to do the final shaping. And like I'll add a taper to this is the body, the barrel right here. So here's the barrel. I will put some a final taper on it here so that it will post. And this is the cap. This cap, like these others here, is in 2 pieces so that it can have a clip. The clip, they thread together and they hold the clip. All right. So here's the cap. So this is what it looks like when it's completely unpolished. You know, it has not been sanded or polished in any way. It's been shaped. I've cut it down to the right rough sizes, and it's ready to go into the polishing or the finishing stage. At this point, you take the pen and run it through successive sanding. Okay, you start out with a relatively rough sandpaper, like 600, which is still pretty smooth. You know, you're not using like monstrous, you know, really rough paper on it because it's already. You can see it's already pretty smooth, right? It's not rough. It doesn't have a lot of imperfections at this point. It has some shaping to be done yet, but I'll run it through with like 600 and then I'll work my way through what they call micro mesh. I'll move all the way up to about a 12,000. That's a 12,000. Roughly the measure by the number of particles per inch. Square inch kind of thing. So 600 is rough. At times if I need to actually shape when I'm sanding, like very often I'll round the end of it like that. I might go all the way down to 320, which is a much bigger number of pieces, and to get more sanding action going, to get that rounding shape going. And then I'll move back, like I said, to 600 up through 12,000. And then I go through a series of polishing compounds. It's currently, and again, we could talk. I know when we've had Zoom meetings with Doc, he'll say, "Oh yeah, we'll get together. These calligrapher, the calligrapher copperplate guys will get together, and they'll spend an hour talking about how to write a B." Well, I could spend an hour talking about how to polish these. Okay, so if we get into the kitchen here, we can talk a lot of details. There's things like, how much pressure, how long do you sand with each layer? And then when I go to these polishing compounds, right now I use a set that's a set of 6 polishing compounds, and I work my way through that. And then this one has just finished that. So at this point, it's done, the barrel of this pen, right? I think the the cap is over on the lathe behind me here, so it's not really handy to grab. But here's the section for this pen. And this, again, like that other pen that we were talking about, it's been shaped but has not been sanded or polished. So if I put it on the barrel, you can kind of see the contrast, right? Here's the barrel, and then when the section is polished, it'll look like the barrel, right? See, right now it doesn't really have any highlights or reflections. Yeah. It's just kind of a matte finish. But this will all be polished, and you can also see the colors kind of intensify when you polish. Right now, you're kind of seeing the white, kind of a matte surface. All right. When you polish, it'll look more like this. All right. It's always fun to do that. I mean, that's a lot of times you'll see people, they'll get it to this state, and then they'll put some water on it to kind of get that reflective surface on it, so you can get a hint of what it's going to look like.
Gorgeous pen, though, for real.
I think, well,
it's not good, but it's a gorgeous.
This is again, like we said, it's like, oh, I'll finish this and I'll go, wow, I like this pen. sorry, the one before you. Okay, you're good, but now I like this pen.
That's Ron. You know what you're doing. I know. I'll play the game. Okay.
Oh, and I fully know that you're basically a lot like me. You and I are very similar. I'll go, look, a new shiny, and you'll go, I want that pen. I know you do, And I'm being very mean to you. I'm showing you all these pens that are new and shiny. So, but it's fun. I really, it's really fun to go. Like I said, this has gone through a lot. This was a big chunk of material. When I got it, a bigger chunk of material. It's been cut down, and at this point, you can start to see the pen part of it emerge. It's becoming a pen.
Yes.
It's just a fascinating thing to watch. Even for me, and I've done it, a few times now. I'm still, really enjoying that transformation. That creation of the pen. That's really a big deal.
So why should a person buy a pen from you when there's other custom pen makers?
Oh, they should buy one from me because they like the pen. I mean, I like the pens. I guess, I like to make pens that I would like to buy. And hopefully, like I say, other people will have that come to that same decision. I do a lot of experimenting. In fact, today here, I'm going to be mean again. Okay, I just got a couple more blanks from Jonathan Brooks. They just came in with that nib. I bought that that nib for Doc's pen from Jonathan. And so here we have his springtime forest, you know.
My stars, look at that sucker. No, you
Yeah,
don't.
isn't it? That is a
Why?
pretty material, you know. And then
Why?
I've got another one. It's called Crime Does Pay. All right. And see, at this point, you're only getting a vague idea of what it's going to look like, because the outer surface often doesn't show you how well it swirls as you go in. Sometimes you can get a better idea if you look at the end of the material. You get a feel for what it
use my
swirls.
imagination.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you're working on things, like you can see on, like I'll go back to this one here, as you're going in, the swirl pattern changes as you go down. You know, as you reduce the size of it and move downward, that swirl keeps changing as you go. And so sometimes you'll be going along, you'll go, okay, that I'm going to stop now. This is really this may not be the size I was planning to stop at, but this swirl is so nice, I want to stop now. Or sometimes you'll see,
excuse me, that pen, I would want a oblique broad.
Okay. Well,
or oblique medium, or oblique.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, Larry, of course, you know, your wish is my command, you know. As you know, you, by some coincidence, yes, you said an oblique broad. Well, I have one on order and it's on its way, you know. As we talked about last night, you said you wanted to try an oblique broad. One is it's on its way and it's a Yovo. It would thread into this just fine, you know.
Well, let me give my input on why people should even give you a try.
Okay.
You come up with some really beautiful colors. You make sure that the new nib is tuned correctly. You send it off to have it done. You're affordable price.
Right.
You really get the orders out as soon as you can. And a lot of them are one of a kind.
Well, all of them are going to be one of a kind from me. I mean, all of these are made by hand. They're even if I tried, I wouldn't be able to make another one like this.
Kind, because when they're bought and gone, you have none.
Right. And I usually don't. And I'm you know, as we've talked about before, I've only been making, at this point now I've become a veteran. I've been making pens now for 11 months. So I'm still moving forward. I'm still learning and improving, and I'm always striving to do better with these pens.
And now you've been at it 11 months?
I've been at it for 11 months. Next, when I go to the Chicago Pen Show, I will be a veteran of 1 year.
Wow.
You know?
I'll be darned.
I know when we first started talking, I think I'd only been making them for 8 months. So we've been talking for a couple months now. But I know when you first got a pen from me, I think I'd been making them about 8 months at that point. You know.
Wow.
And it's always fun. I you know, to hear people say when they've you know, and a couple people they've had one of my earlier pens. I mean, from several months ago, and now they've got one of my newer pens, and they can see that things are moving forward. You know, the pens from months ago, those were good pens. I would, you know, they all were really good pens. But each time I make a pen, you know, I'm trying to make it better. So I'm definitely learning things. So
Ebonite, and what was the other?
This material. These guys here are made with a material called Alumilite.
I like it.
The really common in this style, you know, with custom pens like this. Alumilite's a really popular material.
I like it myself.
Yes, and then of course there's the Ebonite. This one's the.
Why are people really love that Ebonite? What's the secret for that?
Well, you know, Ebonite is a material that's been around for a long time. I just made my first Ebonite pens last year in November, and I'd actually never had an Ebonite pen in my hand to play with. I mean, a larger one like this, you know, to play with. I'd seen Ebonite, but I'd never really had a chance to sit down and write with it. And it definitely has a different feel to it. It has a kind of a warm feel to it. Or I kind of think it's basically a vulcanized rubber. It's actually a hardened rubber. You know, they've treated it, they've added carbon, they've done several things to it. And this was their ebonite. They were basically trying to replace ebony. And this wasn't, they first made this material back in 1839. So it's been around, it's kind of, you might call it an early plastic, kind of, sort of, but it's an artificial material. And it's been used for a lot of things. It was used for musical instruments. It was used for bowling balls. In the early 20th century, a lot of pens were made with ebonite. And even now, today, a lot of people will make the section, this piece here that you hold on to the pen with, they will make that with ebonite because they like to put their fingers, they like to feel the ebonite in their fingers. The rest of the pen could be something else. It could be, whatever, a bone or a piece of, wood, whatever, but they like that ebonite feel for their fingers, where they're touching the pen, where they actually are contacting the pen. They like the feel of the ebonite. And another thing about ebonite is it's often used for the feeds. This one is a number 6 nib, which usually come with, if you just buy the nib unit, they come with a plastic feed. Now, where did I put this guy? The Bach number 8 nibs, these are somewhat fancier. They come with an ebonite feed. And a lot of people swear by the ebonite feeds because I think it has a more porous kind of feel to it. And it will wick the capillary action of the feed will give you a better ink supply to your nib. And of course, there's a lot of, things like how do you make it, and geometries and slits and things like, there's a lot of things going on. But usually the ebonite's often used for the higher end feeds. This black part here below the nib, it gives it the ink. And again, I guess kind of back to the other topic we were talking about, you can, by default, when you buy this particular case, it's a Yovo nib. When you buy a Yovo number 6 nib, there's nothing wrong. This is a steel one in particular. It's a gold finish, but it has a plastic feed, which are, it's easy to make them very precisely. They can mold them and, kind of stamp them out very quickly. However, if you really want to, I can always get an ebonite feed to replace it. And so if you really want ebonite, I can do that. And I guess, another point is, this is I make these with standard nib units. So now, back when I was buying pens, I would be very frightened of this, but it's pretty easy. They just unthread, they just thread into the section. So it's very easy for you to take it out and replace it with another, okay? So you can see it's just got a little threading here, and you put it back on there and you just thread it back in, and voila, you now have a different nib. So you can swap nibs if you like. And I've had a few customers, in fact, I've got some customers right now. I can make you a pen with, in this case, this is a Yovo number 6. Some people are very adventurous and they say, well, I like that, that's good. Could you make me another section just like this, but make it fit a Bach? And so I can do that too. So I can give you, if you're very adventurous, I can give you a section that fits a Yovo number 6, a Bach number 6, and a Bach number 8. So you can mix and match and have multiple nibs that you put into this pen.
Now let me ask you a question, because people are
Sure.
going to be asking anyway.
What's that?
There's a few of them. I'm going to throw them at you.
Okay.
There are people that prefer no clip. There are people that prefer that the barrel is snug with the
Right.
section,
Right.
so no step off. There are people that like the little stop section. I'm not big on that.
Right.
And what else was it? There are people, like, and you already mentioned it, that would rather have a ebonite than a plastic feed. But I found your pens so far have been nice, wet, and juicy for me with the
Right.
plastic.
Well, they're tuned to be pretty nice. Right now, when I first started, all that long time ago when I first started, like 3 months ago or a year ago or 11 months ago, I was just, what I would do is I was buying a supply of nibs like this. And then I would, when it was time to assemble a pen to sell to somebody, I would put a nib in and try it and go, that one feels a little scratchy. I'd set it aside for later. And then I'd pick through the nibs I have and pick out the best one, the one that I felt the best and had the best, wrote the best. And so I did that. And now again, a couple months ago, I've graduated now to just having all the nibs tuned. So like I said, I set them aside for later. Well, later arrived a couple months ago, and now all the nibs are tuned, and I still test them, but I haven't encountered, ever since I've started having them tuned, I haven't had to go, oh, this one feels a little scratchy. So I've been very happy with that, because I'm very confident then that I've got there's going to be a really good experience when someone starts using the pen. And as you were saying, like we were just looking at these others, and there's a lot. I've been experimenting now with this, like with this latest batch. You'll see that I've left this very hard. I've made it very flush. I've gone to kind of more to the extreme flush. It's almost hard to see the line sometimes, right? And then so it's very flush. The trade-off there is that there is going to be a step then right here, and some people don't like steps. They don't like, depending on how you hold the pen. Now I hold the pen far down on the section. All my fingers are touching down there. So when I'm writing with this pen, I don't even feel that step back here, right? There you go. You can see it. See the step?
Well,
I don't feel that step,
yeah.
Nor do I even feel these threads where the cap and the barrel go together. And some people are more sensitive.
That's not too bad of a step off on that one.
Well, yeah, it's not a very large step. Now, on this Ebonite pen, you'll see that back on this one, I rounded this edge a little bit. So, of course, now it's not, you can kind of see the line. It makes it so it's easier to see the line. So the line is going to be visible. But the trade-off there is that now this step doesn't have quite as sharp of an edge, just because I've rounded the very tip of it. So if you're holding the pen, if you happen to hold the pen further back, you're not feeling quite as sharp of an edge. And now, as you were mentioning before, another alternative, I'll knock all these down, is to do this, where the cap overlaps on the barrel, right? You can see there's a step here, but now when you take it apart, there's no step. Right? So it's nice and smooth. So you're not going to feel a step when you're writing with it.
Like that,
there's still the threads there, but that's all that you feel. If you run your finger up and down the pen, you just feel those threads, and those threads are pretty fine. But again, depending on your sensitivities, that they shouldn't bother you. But they're still there. But there's no step right here behind them, right where the cap and the barrel come together. Oops, if I can get them together here like that. So when I put this pen together, of course, see the trade-off is that now there's a step here when you're carrying the pen around closed. And of course, if you were sliding this in and out of your pocket or into a pen sleeve, there's that little step that you'll feel as you're pushing it in and out, right? But with one of these others that are flush, it will slide into a sleeve or into your pocket they won't catch on your pocket at all as you're pushing it in, because it's nice and smooth as it goes through, right? When it's closed like this.
Right.
And of course, you'd like to have both. Physics doesn't allow that. I'm sorry. Although I'm thinking about, there's a lot of designs out there, and like I said, I'm just getting going. I'm still thinking about designs. Some people will do things like they'll put the threads down in here, they'll put them inside the section, and the cap will engage with those threads, so they can eliminate the threads here too. So there's a lot of territory for me to explore in designs yet. I've got a lot of ground to cover. So I'm looking forward to all that.
Do you think you'll ever, or is it too hard, or to put any kind of a ring on the cap?
Oh yeah. Well, I basically, at your urging, I did start putting clips on a lot of the pens. I actually myself, again, and this is a matter of taste, I do like the pens, that are like very sleek and don't really have any protuberances, or anything like that. I like it and I usually carry them in a case. So I usually just slide them into the little sleeve, and I like them to slide in. and the clip actually kind of gets in the way when you're putting it into a sleeve. You have to kind of get the clip to go over the edge of the sleeve or whatever, or go inside the sleeve. So I personally, when I'm carrying the pens around, I like this style, but everybody, if you're carrying it in your pocket, which I know you like to do, well, you want a clip because you want it to hold on to your pocket. So if when you're jumping up and down, it doesn't fly out, right? But or whatever,
yeah.
So those are all all the various combinations. And again, that's something that those are all the personal tastes that occur. What do you like? And one of the things that's again nice about why somebody would buy a pen from me or from any custom maker is that you can pretty much get what you want. You can say, well, I actually, if you look at these, see there's some choices here. Like here, this one here is made with a larger diameter, so it has more girth than this one does.
Yeah.
So, and I can't say that I really have any strong, I like writing with this pen. It's definitely bigger than the other one, but I like writing with the other one too. So I don't have any, like, it's got to be this size or that size, but you can get exactly the size if you want a particular shape. Like, excuse me, this one is mildly bell shaped, but if you like it extremely, cupped in the middle here, or if you like it to be very straight, or whatever, if you want to have a ring, an edge that you can feel, all that can be changed. When you buy a mass-produced pen, you don't really get choices like that. What?
Is the girth of that pen about the size of a 149?
I don't recall what the 149 is. This is the girth on this one. The way when I'm making them, the decision is this diameter here, because I use different tools to get the different size threads. This is a 15 millimeter diameter in this particular one. And so it's a pretty girthy pen, but I don't know what the 149 is off the top of my head. But and then this other one here is a 13 millimeter, so it's 2 millimeters. Doesn't sound like much, but it makes a big difference. This is a slimmer pen. This is 13 millimeters here, and that's the tooling that controls this diameter. So I use different tools to make those threads. And then from there, of course, I choose what shape I want out of this. And I'm experimenting with that too. I have done more rounded ones too, like this one, which is a little more rounded. I've done some tapered ones as well. I've done the triangular shape on the ends. This one here is pretty squared off, which is, again, these are all choices you can make. What do you like? What style do you like? So.
So, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Boy, I usually think of things after we finish. Like in another hour or so, I'll think of something.
Okay, folks. So here's my green. Now, Mike, people still are not aware of where can I buy a pen. So, once again, for the 100th time, Mike is going to elaborate where you.
Oh, okay. You know what? I sent out just recently. I sent out all these packages, and all my cards are gone. But if you hold the card up, they can see the. There you go. Hold your card up. There, hold my card up. There you can see. There's all the details. Probably the easiest way to find me is on Instagram. If you like Instagram, I'm at MIGHKE42. If you like the web, I'm at mikespenfun.com. Of course, and you can email me at mike@mighke.com. And there's even a phone number, 612-812-1674. So any of those will work. If you go to my Instagram, you can, you'll see, that's probably where I'm most active in terms of real time. Whenever I finish a pen, I will post a picture of the pen and a quick description. And so you can DM me, you can message me on Instagram if you're interested in the pen, or you can go to my website, and there's a contact me button at the bottom of the page. You can look through all the pens and contact me. And you can either talk to me about one of my pens, or if you want a custom pen, you can do it that way. Let's see, what else is there? There was something else. We almost forgot, didn't we? And the other day we were talking about things and I completely forgot. And someone contacted me and they said, "Oh yeah, I was watching watching Larry and da da da." And I said, "You were lucky. You actually mentioned the magic word. If they say Larry, they get a 15% discount. All
That's, I
right.
forgot about that. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I forgot about that a few days ago. I think it was a week ago we were talking, and we went through we discussed all this stuff and all that, and then somebody contacted me and bought a pen, and I was like, oh, you didn't realize it, but you get a 15% discount because you mentioned Larry. So anybody
I
watching
forgot
this, if
all
you
about
contact me and mention the top secret difficult code, Larry, you get a 15% discount. So
That's
that's
right.
another
Oh,
bonus.
if you order one, say Larry, and you're going to get a 15% discount.
That's right. That's right. 15%. So right off the bat.
Well, we're going to cut it off, but before we go, we need to mention the Baltimore Pen Show that's happening right now.
It is going this weekend, right now. And a lot of our friends are there.
All right. You can always jump in. Jonathan Brooks, Frank from Federal Pencil Paper, Jim Hines will be there. Help me out here. La 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 la.
Well, I know a lot of, well, in particular, I already mentioned Jim. Kirk Spear of Pen Realm is there. In fact, I saw a picture. If you go to his Instagram and look, you'll see he posted a picture of himself there at the pen show of his booth with him sitting there, and he's sitting there smiling, and he's got his ring light is right over his head. It looks like a halo, like he's an angel.
Yeah.
So actually, again, if you go to Instagram and you start looking, you'll see. I'm sure if you do I don't know what the right hashtag is, but if you do a hashtag, Baltimore Pen Show or whatever it is, you can look at one of these guys. You'll be able to see lots of things about the show.
And what I want to say is that Lena from Pen Boutique, they're not going to be at the Pen Show, but they're only 20 miles away, and they will be open. So this way, if you want to go in, meet Lena, her staff, and check out their pens, and just ask any of the salespeople what your need is. If you want to try a pen, you can, but this is your chance to go to a Pen Boutique. I mean, they got some awesome stuff. And Lena is just awesome. Her staff's awesome. And who else is going to be at the show? Because I'm forgetting.
Oh, I didn't prepare. I'm sorry.
I'm thinking I was prepared, but my mind's in orbit. I think Crazy Alan might be there.
He's at a lot of the shows. Yeah. He's at a lot of the shows.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, anyway, probably.
Well, anyway, for those of you if you're seeing this right now, if you're seeing this, it might be hard for you to get to the Baltimore Pen Show. Like right now, I'm not going to make it. Even if I decided to, it'd be pretty hard to get there. By tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can't drive there that fast from here. But if you are at the Baltimore Pen Show and you happen to be seeing this, like you said, Lena is nearby. So it'd be a shame to have traveled all the way to the Baltimore Pen Show and miss the opportunity to go see Lena, right?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Right.
You're there, you might have to see her. Yeah.
And I know I'm a big veteran, of one pen show now, the last year's Chicago Pen Show. And it is good to scope out who's nearby when you go to a pen show. And very often, of course, they'll be at the pen show as well. But it's nice to take the opportunity because you may not have a lot of pen shops near you where you live, or you certainly, and if you traveled especially, it'd be a shame to be that close and not go to them. With me, at the Chicago Pen Show, there's Anderson Pens. There's
Anderson.
I've lost.
They're not going to be.
They may not be at the show itself. Last year, they were reopening their Chicago shop. So they were just crazy busy. You figure, you're just reopening your store. This was after they had closed it down for a while. The hotel had closed and their shop had closed. So they were just opening their shop again. And so they were kind of busy with their shop. I'll forgive them this time for not showing, or last time for not showing up. And this year they better show up. But it's an opportunity. And I'm trying to remember that there's another one in Chicago that they were at the show, but I don't remember their name. Sorry, guys. But, definitely scope out the pen shops nearby if you're traveling, because it's, I guess I have to confess that I just did a trip. I went down to Texas and did a little cruising around Texas, and I did stop by and have dinner with you one night. That was really fun. It was fun I'd never seen you in person before, so that was kind of fun to meet you in person. And it was just a short visit. And then I went through Houston, and for the very first time in recent memory, I actually went through Houston. My family was in a big rush to get to Galveston. The beach was calling them. So they didn't want to stay in Houston traffic very long. So I missed my stop at Dromgools, and I love stopping at Dromgools in Houston.
Yeah.
So
Doggone it.
don't forget your shops when you're traveling, though. Definitely.
Yeah, I would like to go by there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And I can't, pen shows are, if there's one anywhere near you, that's, like I said, I've done one pen show now, and I'm a convert now. I'm not going to make every pen show, but now this year I'm going to do 3 of them. So I'm ramping up.
Now, remember, folks, that I don't know all of them, but some of them will request probably your little card to show that you've been vaccinated and wear a mask, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what the rules were, what they're going to be at the Baltimore Pen Show. I think it was the Philadelphia show was about a month ago or a couple of weeks ago. And this wasn't the show people. And so don't get mad at the show people. This was Philadelphia, the city. Their rules were you had to have your card showing that you either been vaccinated and or had a negative test, and you had to wear a mask, and the show people generally don't have any control over that. So you just, they're just trying to get along like everybody else. So I don't know what Baltimore is going to be like. When I was at Chicago, I don't think they had a mask mandate, as I recall. No, they did. We had to wear masks. Now that I think about it, So we had to wear masks at the Chicago show last year. Now this year, coming up next month, I don't know what the rules will be by then. But sorry, I mean, we're all trying to get through this COVID thing. So.
Well, one last thing. I'll let you
Okay.
have one last word, and we're out of here. Tell us, leave us with something fun. Pins. What?
Wow. I don't know. I don't know about you, but I'm really having a good time with pens. Yes, I would, I think I've told people that since I started making pens, I haven't been buying a lot of pens. I think, have I controlled my pen acquisition habit? But I'm making a new pen every couple of days. So I guess I haven't really got it under control, have I? But new pens and just writing with a pen, writing letters. I've been doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
New inks, new nibs. There's a lot of things to explore. And if you find one that you really like, there's nothing wrong with it. Lately, I've been just using one pen and just using it and not switching. And that's a good way to go too, unless you, of course, forgot to bring a spare and you run out of ink.
Okay,
But
folks.
enjoy your pens.
Everybody that has written a letter, I will get to you. And I'm probably about 18 behind.
I'm about that far behind too.
And then I'm about, I don't know how much behind on reviews. They're all stacked up. But I'm going to get to them. I'm trying to, it just depends how I feel. But I'm most likely going into a wheelchair soon. So I have a wheelchair, right. But that's a heavy duty wheelchair. So I can't put that in the trunk of the car or not. Like, it's too heavy, hurts my spine. So I'm working on getting a light one. So that's the latest. Plus, all the blah, blah, blah doctors and stuff you go to and blah, blah, blah. But I want to concentrate more right now on videos. I'm going to continue my Zooms, but my videos are piling up. So they're saying me. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to.
But have fun. I mean, I know the videos, you have fun.
I do.
And, when you're having fun, all those other peripheral meaningless things like your medical conditions and all that, those go away, right? Have fun. You've got a lot of videos to do, and I'm kind of in the same straits. I've got all these pens I want to finish, and I'm fortunate I have a lot of things that people want me to make for them, but it's important to not get bound up on you've got a lot of work to do. Don't make it work. Make it fun.
Yeah,
have a lot of fun, Larry.
I've got brand new things from Hugers that just came in, brand spanking new. I've got, is it Galen or Galen? He's still on dog, Mr. Galen. I promise I'll take care of you. And you name it. I've got paper from Pen Boutique that has not been done in months, but I'll get there.
Well, have fun with your toys.
And I'll get to those pins too somehow.
Definitely. Yes.
All right, Michael. Anything
Very
else,
good.
Mike?
Nope, that's it. Have fun.
All right, my friends. We'll talk to you soon. Maybe tomorrow. Don't we have a Zoom?
Yes.
Yep, tomorrow we have a Zoom.
Yes, you do.
That's right. That's with Maryland, right?
Yes.
So
Miss
tomorrow,
Maryland.
isn't it?
Let me
At 2
check.
p.m. Central Time tomorrow.
Yes, 2 p.m. Central.
Oh, 2 p.m. Central Time tomorrow, Saturday,
Right.
with Maryland. She'll be on. So you don't want to forget that. We'll be on for 1 hour from 12 to 1 p. Right?
No, 2
Two
to 3.
I'm
to
sorry.
3.
Again. Correction.
Do the math.
Correction,
2
Mr. Ross.
to 3.
2 p.
To 3.
to
2
3
to
p.
3.
The mind is now orbiting the earth. Da, 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 da. All right. So, yeah. Oh, well. Send me your pens. Okay. All right. Toodles, leave it. All right. Bye. See you
Bye.
later. Good having you, Mike.